Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Made in New England interview series, where we talk with New England-based companies and the people who lead them. I'm your host, Steve DeVries, and today I'm joined by Cliff Byrd of Vidar Corporation, based in Portsmouth. Cliff, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, Steve. It's great to be here.
All right, so Cliff, maybe you could kick us off with a little bit of background about yourself as well as the business Vidar that you're operating.
Yeah, perfect. So I came out of the military, was in special operations for 12 years. Originally came up here for another venture, Juliet Marine Systems, that I met with the founder when I was actually in the military, getting out of the military. So it kind of drew me to this area and the project. We had a project over on Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. And then I went into big corporate world for a while. L3 formerly, and then L3 Harris when they merged, and then decided to start my own thing. So started Vidar out of that, and Vidar is Old Norse mythology, it means wide ruling, and that was kind of my background from the Navy, and so we adopted that, and we were doing a lot of distribution and sourcing for DoD. Several different contracts needed, a lot of kitting, for customers, putting things together, warehousing for them, and then distribution from there. At the same time, we're developing some products, kind of in my background in optics, night vision. We're taking on a SOCOM customer to develop some new product for.
Wow. So you have a lot going on, and your business has been active for over 3 years now?
Yeah, over 3 years and growing. Originally, it was myself and one employee took on that, and then have grown into 10 employees now, and trying to diversify out and looking at the commercial market as well for products in the future, and then trying to grow inside of DoD itself.
Well, so I mean, your business or industry, I should say, being in military here in New England, that's obviously a huge industry. But could you tell us a little bit more about what's driven your success in that industry to this point?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just problem solving, right? Everybody says it, but can you do it, right? Can you actually listen to your customer, see what their pain points are, and deliver a solution? I always look at, so, being a distributor or a sourcing company, smaller margin, right? I'm not making the product myself, but can I source it, make a profit, but really solve a big problem, right? And then I believe in doing that, I get bigger and bigger problems, but you make more margin, right? And you do more with that, right? So that's kind of our philosophy. That's what we've done. I come from a background in SOCOM where it's like just get the job done. And so that's what I believe in, right? Can we just get the job done, make a profit, employ people, and then look at solving bigger and bigger problems as it goes?
So as your company's grown, you've obviously had to look at your business critically at different points in time. Are there any particular metrics that you use that our listeners might find interesting in terms of operating a business like yours?
Yeah, we really look at our margins, right? Because we're a smaller company and we're really focused on margin, but not trying to, gouge the customer as well, right? And pay for our services, and really watching that. Your KPIs and really what you measure inside the business are key to grow it, right? So we look at that, and then customer satisfaction all the time. So we follow up with our customers on every delivery, from the warehouse to the actual fulfillment center, and what they want, what they saw, and how we delivered it. So really trying to focus on what the things we've done right, and the things we're doing wrong, and fix those right away. Being a small company, you could do that. And then really look at how to actually perform and give customer satisfaction at the end of the day. I think, I mean, defense has gotten so big, right? You're talking about $800 billion, right? That there's billion-dollar companies everywhere, right? And those are the majority of large and defense companies in the U.S., right? But I think small, agile companies that can fill a niche inside defense, there's good business there to fill a customer need and really take care of it. So And that's kind of where we're going to and where we're at right now. Then we trying to get more and more niched into, the warehousing, classified material, and everything else with some of the State Department and three-letter agencies and doing other stuff like that, where it's even a smaller niche and trying to get more in there in those departments more.
So as a small business that's working in the defense industry, how do you navigate all of the all of the hoops that have to be jumped through, with some of these larger contractors? I mean, I have a client, small manufacturing company, and I see it as such a huge challenge for them. How do you deal with that?
Like know what you know and depend on your relationships, right? Like I think everybody wants to create more business all the time, that everybody tries to go outside their lanes. And that's great for future business if you're talking 3 to 5 years. But especially in defense, everybody has to rely on you, right? Everybody's job is relying on you. They're taking a risk on you, everything else. That it's really keyed on in a relationship, right? And that you could point to those former successes that you've had to key on to new adventures, right? And what you're trying to do. Is it a new program office? Is it a new, contracting officer or whatever it is? To actually key on those successes and keep your network, I always say, small and growing. I think when you try to take on too much and try to broaden out and where you spend your time, especially in a small business, you can't do that, right? And really key into your key customers and satisfying them. I think originally when I started out, I had these big goals. I'm going to go here, here, and there. I'm like, no, let's not do that. After a while, it's like I'm just going to follow this lane and see where it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this might be a segue into my next question, but because at this point I'm usually asking my guests what excites them about the future, right? And I know you said you're starting to get into night vision technology. So what was it like going from a service-based sourcing and kitting focused business to now being a product development business? And is that
Yeah, so
is that really exciting you for the future?
it is just I love that customer, right? And when I was in, I wouldn't say I was a techie, but I always love product, right? And how it enabled us to do our job. And with that background, I always look at future tech and how it actually gives benefit, not technology for technology's sake, but what does it actually do? What benefit does it actually bring on the battlefield and what guys are trying to do? And that really excites me, right? How do you take that next step? How do you take that next edge? How do you keep it low cost too, right? Like how can you innovate with a smaller budget and actually give benefit to the government without being one of the big primes, right? I'm not a billion-dollar company. And I really don't want to be a billion-dollar company because you get stifled and you become slow, right? To a degree, right? And depending on how your management structure is and everything. But I'm really excited about innovate for the customer. No matter if it's product or if it's sourcing or anything else, like what can you key in on how to do it differently than what's been done in the past and how everybody else does it.
So then on the flip side, right, what
Yeah.
concerns you about the future for Vidar?
Yeah, the big primes, right? Like everybody in industry, they're huge numbers, moving around. And it's hard sometimes to be a small prime, especially when you're looking at bigger contracts or other things you could do, or long term, IDIQ contracts and how to bid for those and then stay relevant in the space, right? It's you got to be patient, right? Like you have to be patient in defense, and it's not going to happen overnight, right? I think in our society today, especially in business, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur to a degree, and everybody thinks it's going to be somewhat quick. But you get in here, and it's a 5 to 10 year you know trudge along the road, right? The path, whatever you're going to take, instead of being like turn and burn. It's just not that way. So that's, I mean, those are some things that worry me, especially with employees and trying to grow as a founder, trying to create that future and where we're going and what we're doing, and give them what they need to go do that.
All right. So you're a New England-based business. You're in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. What impact has being in New England been to your business, pros or cons?
Yeah, no, I think being so close to the defense base up here, there's so many large primes that have that here, and that the engineering talent that is up in this area, there's just tremendous opportunity for that, right? Engineering talent, all the universities here, interns, but we've keyed in on some of in our short history. I think that's a huge benefit for all the universities and all the talent in the area in New England. I call the defense corridor up here, right? Like when I first got out of the military, that's what it was, right? We would go from industry partner to industry partner, seeing kind of what they're doing and what projects we're working on with them and everything else. So I mean, that's a huge staple of this, community in this area.
All right. So, as someone who's served in the military, and I'll say thank you very much for your service. I appreciate it. I appreciate the men and women of our military and what you do. There's a lot of them out there that would love to have a successful business like yours. So, what advice would you give to aspiring business leaders, and maybe in particular, those people coming from the military that want to be part of that industry?
Yeah, I would really key in on what problem can you solve, right? Like what's out there, what problem can you solve? How do you get it started with not a lot of cash up front, or cited it even as a side job and kind of get it going. Look at other talent you're going to need for that, and then build your company based off of that, solving a problem. Don't look at, I would say, new tech so much, or like how I'm going to change the industry, but try to solve a problem and then just at least get started. I wish I would have got started earlier, coming out of the military, actually, and looked in some of those other programs you have for transitioning people when you're getting out of the military, and really key on and entrepreneurship and founding a company. But I think there's all kinds of new things out there to do that.
Amazing. Well, Cliff Byrd of Vidar, you've been a fantastic guest. I really appreciate you coming on today. And any last words of advice or wisdom for our listeners out there?
Love New England, all right? This area, if you haven't been to New England, the Lakes region in the summers is totally awesome. Come visit, don't stay, but we love it. We love it up here. And then the mountains. I'm originally from the West Coast, California. Grew up hour and a half from Heavenly, up at Tahoe and everything else. But I think we've got a really good piece of the pie in the country up here in New England. Enjoy it. It's great for family. It's great for industry. I think it's just a good area to be in.
Couldn't agree more, Cliff. Once again, Cliff Byrd from Vidar, thanks again for being on today. And thank you to everybody who's watching and listening out there. We appreciate you, and we will see you again soon. Have a great day.